So, a very good afternoon to ADG, sir, and I welcome all participants who have joined this webinar through WebEx. Our topic for today is self-awareness, which refers to conscious knowledge of one's own character, feelings, motives, and desires. It is also the ability to examine and understand one's own thoughts, emotions, behaviors, and impact on others. Developing strong self-awareness can actually catalyze meaningful personal growth for a government servant in so many ways, like developing self-reflective abilities, which allow one to frankly assess their competencies. It also enhances impartial and evidence-based decision-making capacities, which are essential for any public service roles. It also aligns our personal goals with our professional values, and it helps us build resilience. This topic, though a bit abstract, is of utmost importance for all government employees specifically and people in general. And to throw much more light on these topics, we have with us our today's faculty, Shri Sanjay Tripathi, sir, who is Additional Director General IRITM. So I welcome you on behalf of all the participants. And before we request sir to delve deeper into this topic, I would give a brief introduction of sir. Sir is an IRTS officer of 1990 batch. Sir is in Machine Chemistry from IIT Kanpur. Sir has held various positions in general management, train operations, and commercial departments in so many zones like Northern Railway, NCR, NER, NFR, and Central Railways. Sir has done stints of senior DM, CPTM, and CTPM, and also worked as Deputy CRS and CCRS office, Mela Officer of Kumbh Mela 2013, and Sir has also been DRM Lucknow and PCM NER. During his tenure as DRM Lucknow, Sir led various innovations in project planning, which led to remarkable execution in the pending infrastructural projects. And Sir also led the division during the COVID-19 catastrophe and organized Shramik special trains and oxygen special trains in coordination with other railway divisions and support from Uttar Pradesh government. On promotion, Sir was posted at PCUM Northeastern Railway and achieved excellence in railway operations. Sir has done management courses on strategic management from ISB Hyderabad, advanced management courses from ICLIF Center for Leadership and Governance Malaysia, and customer strategies from INSEAD Singapore, as well as management course from SDA Bocconi University, Milan in Italy. Sir has received General Managers Awards at the NCR, CR, and NFR, and National Award for Outstanding Service, and many other awards. And Sir, you are the best person to help us navigate through this topic of self-awareness. So I now request you to kindly take over and address the participants.
Thank you, Krishna, for your kind words. I hope that I am audible to all the people. It's a very interesting subject. Actually, when Krishna spoke to me about self-awareness, I started thinking about it, and then it dawned to me that maybe a 2-hour webinar is a very small time for talking about a subject which takes people for years to master. Self-awareness, as you can see, has got two components in it. First is self, and second is awareness. What exactly is awareness and what is self is, let me tell you a story about it. Somebody approached Mahatma Bodh regarding that what makes us suffer so much in life, why these small incidents, why life is so painful and all. He started he said that a person who suffers actually is hit by two. One arrow is situational and other arrow is of the suffering. So whereby that what he meant was that first arrow is inevitable, in the sense that in a life you will face up and down, you will face unpredictable situations, unpalatable situations, difficult situations, and very, very life-threatening occasions. But suffering is optional. Suffering is optional only for people who are very, very self-aware. If you are self-aware, then your suffering goes down. And how do you identify a self-aware person in a crowd? You identify a self-aware person, generally he'll be very happy. He will have very high sense of humor. He has the capacity to laugh at himself, and he'll be a people's magnet. Actually, people will attract towards him, and he's a great team builder. And in teams and social conditions, he will work very well. So in this respect, self-awareness is a very complex subject. We'll unpack it and unzip it. It's like a zip file of computer, where you unpack it and the set of files come out, and then we will take one by one and start discussing about it. You see, this self-awareness is actually it is the greatest weapon in a leader's hand to control his mind. Controlling his mind, he can see a lot of opportunities in a normally troublesome position where people, other people see troubles and obstacles and suffering. The mind, which is self-aware, which is well trained, sees the opportunities for self growth. This is the biggest advantage of learning about it. And what are the objectives of this discussion? The objectives of this discussion is that participants will become more aware of their emotional response to a situation. We'll unpack this, that why we react the way we react. And also participants will be able to regulate their disruptive impulses. You see, disruptive impulses are something like you take a decision which you regret. Anger always results in regret, but we get angry. And Swami Vivekananda used to say that a fool cannot get angry and a wise doesn't get angry. So this is how he defined the difference between wise person and a fool. Self-awareness is the first and the biggest concept of 5 skill sets which are required for a robust emotional intelligence. This is based on Harvard model developed by the biggest player in this field, and he has written a lot of books about emotional intelligence. You have heard about it, and he defines that self-awareness, self-regulation, motivation, empathy, and social skills are the 5 key skill sets required for emotional intelligence. What are these emotional intelligence? We will take first subset of skill, that is self-awareness. The rest, I think Krishna is planning to take one by one when we'll discuss this emotional intelligence concept in a series of webinars. What exactly is self-awareness? Self-awareness has got 2 components. One is self, and other is being aware about it. And how does it help us? So you see, self-awareness helps in knowing one's strengths, weaknesses, drives, values, and impact on others. So what exactly is knowing one's strength, weaknesses, drives, values, and impact on others is one area where we'll look at it. Strength is which comes naturally to you. You see, everybody has got some talent in him. Some people are good painters, some people are good conversationalists, some people are good story writers, singers. These are their strengths. And weaknesses are that some people are good in mathematics, some people are not good in mathematics, some people are good public speakers, some people are not good public speakers, some people avoid taking leadership positions, some people love taking leadership positions. And What drives you to the office day after day after day, doing this mundane kind of a job where you feel that nothing is coming out of it, but still you report on time, you do your work honestly, diligently, and go back. And what is your value system? Actually, value system is a kind of a Lakshman Rekha, or the limitation that you place on yourself, which you will transgress with lot of difficulty and injury to your own self. And impact on others. Impact on others is that how others view you. Others, are they happy in seeing you, or they try to avoid you, or they try to find you a very difficult character, difficult person to deal with. And especially in a leadership position, it can be a very big derailer. So let us see what exactly is these in each way. Then what are the hallmarks of a highly self-aware person? He has got high self-confidence, realistic self-assessment, what he can do, what he cannot do. He's got the ability to hear criticism and take corrective action. And of course, high sense of humor is there, because he takes life very lightly and he's fully aware. So how does this self gets developed, and how do we learn about it? Let me discuss it a little bit more. The concept of self formation starts at around age of 11 to 12, and with age it goes on increasing, where you keep consolidating what you feel is your strength, is your weakness, is your drive, your values, and impact on others. The two component in it, the self. First is real self. Real self is not exactly aware of anything about it. Virginia Woolf used to say that a person is born and society makes it a woman or a man. This is so very true, because when a girl is there at around 11 or 12 years of age, she becomes keenly aware of her own identity. And then she starts dressing well, she starts playing differently. Apart before 10 years or maybe 11 years, there's no differentiation as such between boys and the girls. They play together, they are not aware of each other's different existence. When we come in contact with society, then the self gets reflected, and then we have what is called as projected self. Projected self is that we want to put up before the society our best face forward, and also we want to be want people to like us by telling them that what are the qualities we have, how do we try to prove ourselves very hard. You will find that at around 19-20 in teenagers, this feeling is very high. Up to 20-25, the competitiveness is very there. Competitiveness means that I am no less than you. And so this is how the self keeps forming, and it goes on forming until very late in life. By the age of around 50-55, that you reconcile yourself with the surroundings, and then by that by hormones are settled, your emotions are well consolidated, and you start deciding that this is my life, this is how I am going to live further. So what are the components of self? The first item, the components of self. Self is a very amorphous concept which keeps forming. What is my ideal self? What is my self-image? Actually, you see, we are very big critics of our own self. If you must have realized that we criticize ourselves that in this situation I did not behave well, or I should have behaved differently, or and then we also have some vague idea about our ideal self. Ideal self is generally an idol or people whom we hold in high esteem, and then we try to copy them. Actually, we try to copy them, and then later on we become like them. So there is a play between ideal self, self-image, And if self-image differs from ideal self too much, then your self-esteem suffers. I'll give you a very small example about this. If you decide that you want to get up early in morning and want to do something, it's got scientific reasons for being so, but you are not able to get up, then your ideal self is that you would like to get up early. Whereas your position is that you're not able to get up early. So there is a incongruence between your ideal self and self-image, and as a result, your self-esteem suffers. So this is how it is. So congruence is very important between all these three. If your ideal self is near your self-image, then your self-esteem remains intact and you will feel very happy about it. So it is, self is not something which you say that you see, Krishna just introduced me. He introduced only a part of my existence, my academic qualification, how I have done in government job, etc. I am much more than that. I believe that I am a set of emotions. I'm a set of I have got certain responsibility in the stage of life that I am in, and I also look at the world with a different viewpoint, which only you are privy to that. That is why improvement to self is so difficult. A little bit I'll talk about three factors here. Two I have listed. One I'll introduce. The first is negativity. We are born negative, and we have got a streak of negativity running through our life. It is meaning thereby is that we don't trust anybody fully, and it helps us in a city like conditions where actually you don't know many people too well, many people do not know you too well, and therefore a little bit of being negative about it secures your existence, and it is good. It is continuing the days when we were living in jungles and we faced the dangers at every step of our existence. The second is emotional agility. We have tremendous emotional agility. Like when we at one moment we are feeling very sad, and other moment we are very happy. And in a day, if you count your emotions, we the scientists estimate that you undergo around 600 kind of states of existence. And what is important for improvement in your ideal self is, or self image is, your unconditional love for yourself. You have to pardon yourself. You are just a human being, and a strong self concept gets generated if you have unconditional love for your existence. So these are the key components of a very, very amorphous concept. Amorphous means that it's got no definite size of self. In this regard, I will also talk about what exactly are we. Let's wait for a minute and then we'll talk about it. What is the general awareness? First, we discuss the self. You're getting the flow of the discussion. We discuss self-awareness, its hallmark, its advantages, its components. And now we have discussed self, and now we are moving on to what exactly is awareness. Awareness is actually we have limited attention. Let me explain this to you a little bit for people who are new to this subject. You see, a human being is a conscious being, and this conscious being, what does it mean is that we are floating in a ocean of consciousness, and it has got three component: body, what we call as mind, and we also call intellect. Intellect is also called buddhi or discriminatory power. Mind is actually the controller of these senses. And body is general body, that we are either a male or a female, we are encased in a body. This is what we feel, that we are, ourself is encased in a body like this, and we are floating in consciousness. Now what happens is that the philosophers have thought like this, that if you use the allegory of what is called as Rath, it has got the horses. Their reins are controlled by, these are the sensors that we have: eyes, ears, tongue, skin, and tongue. Sorry, there are five of them. So eyes, ears, tongue, skin, and audit, mm, smell, nose. They are the sensor. So actually, what scientists say, that we are living in a tasteless, odorless, soundless world. Our sensors, which we have as nose, eyes, ears, and skin, these five, they are our sensors which make us feel this. Our eyes can see only limited range of frequencies. Our ears can hear only not the full range of auditory capability. Dogs can hear more. Bats can hear very high frequencies also. They don't. That's why they are able to travel in the night. And similar nature. Like nose is, for dog, it has got a million smell profiles for people. So it separates people from it. The senses, these five of them, are controlled by mind. Wherever mind takes us, that is attention. We are able to notice. Suppose, for example, in this office room where I am talking to you from, there's so many things. But at the moment, I am aware only of computer screen, and I am looking at only the presentation and talking about the general awareness. So I am aware that I am sitting in a setting, but I've got no details. So awareness is your capacity to give attention. Now what happens is that when you wake up in the morning, your energy levels peak and then ebb. That is why you see early morning period, when you are this thing, your awareness is very high. It is very high until the, say, midday. Then you take a snack, supply yourself with the energy, and keep it going. And it starts sagging by the afternoon. And when you are going to the bed, you neither you are able to speak well, nor you are able to think well. You are just thinking of sleeping. So this is how our energy levels are distributed. When we are fully awake, say in the first half of the day or second, I mean until 4 o'clock or 4:30, our general attention is very high and general awareness is also. I hope everybody is getting this point. Then energy levels, after that we also have a focus and a flow. Like I'll tell you, when we are discussing this, I am fully focused on this discussion. And since I love talking about it, I've been talking about it for years. It gives me a flow of thought process, which is actually coming on its own. I am not too much thinking about it. So the focus and flow, these are the two critical things by which we decide the energy level for a task and attention for a task. Unfortunately, in what has happened in modern days, that because of a lot of distraction, especially mobile phones and screen sets, our focus, which enables you to do very deep work, has reduced. And therefore you find that we are not able to concentrate on a work for a very long time, and we generally feel very frustrated with ourselves because our attention span is so. And these notifications, the WhatsApp and the social media, checking mails, checking news, checking Twitter, and they're calling for your attention as well as your energy, and you are wasting too much energy into this. So now what happens is, let's come to this earlier drawing of ours, where we have a body mind intellect complex encased in a body of human being. What it does is that whenever it encounters a situation, it keeps sizing up that situation. How does it size up? It looks at the various dimensions in the light of its past thinking. So the intellect has got that part of your what is called as memory. It gives you continuity of your existence. You are a child, you are adult, you are senior adult now, you will become old man, but you still, there is a continuity of thought process. That is because of intellect, or it's memory function. This is the composition we have for us. In the light of intellect, we generate. One more thing that I'll tell you is that whatever eyes sees, we see the lateral inversion of it. Actually, right side looks like a left side and left side looks like a right side. And we don't really look at something which is solid. Actually, it is between wave particle duality it is operating. So therefore, what we perceive is not what we actually see, but intellect fixes it. Like if you see, suppose for example, I see this glass of water, and this glass of water, my eyes are seeing this as a glass of water in its image. Mind fixes it to make it erect, and intellect tells me that it has got water and you can drink. So dimensions of a situation is also assessed by our general awareness. Since these equipments operate at a very subtle and very fast level, in fact, they are so fast that they work at the speed of light. Therefore, we feel as if we are living in a real world and real time basis. But there is a time lag between these things. And what happens is, the last is that general awareness also allows us to make decisions and discretion. Certain things we will not do, like we know that fire is hot and we will not touch it. And but we light up fire for making food for various purposes. And we take a decision and then exercise discretion. These are the components of general awareness that we talk. So we have talked about self, and we are now talking about general awareness, and we have discussed the various components of it, that our capacity to give attention is limited by our mind, where it focuses our sense organs, and the energy level for wakefulness, they are not consistent, because our energy levels we get from our energy source is food that we eat at various times, and then the focus and flow are impacted because of a lot of distraction these days. We have to somehow reduce the distraction to become more aware, and process the dimensions of a situation so that we can see it in a complete situation, and then decision making and discretion is also possible in that stage. What are the basic equipments of the general awareness? These are the general cognition. General cognition is that we know that we are alive. Being aware that at this moment we are alive is part of our general cognition system. And we can decide about things is also part of general cognition. Then also we have what is called as, common with all animals, is stimulus versus response. This equation is very important. In fact, it is superpower. It is considered superpower in emotional intelligence. What happens is that you get a stimulus, or multiple is stimuli from various sources that we discuss: eyes, ears, nose, skin. the five organs of cognition, and then stimuli goes into giving rise to a reaction. I'll tell you a very interesting example. For example, if somebody abuses you, you feel bad. And sometimes you feel so bad that you might harm him. But if your friend doesn't abuse you, you feel bad. How is it that? Because the stimulus is same, set of stimuli is same, but how do you different? If you are beaten up by an outsider, you will definitely beat him back. But if your father beats you up, you don't really think of hurting him. Why there's a difference? Think about it. Actually, what happens is that between stimulus and response, we have got what is called as emotional response. Emotional response. So emotions temper our stimulus response concept. It is not there in animals. Emotional makeup or setup is particular. Realizing this stimulus and response reaction is a superpower in your hand. You know it's only a stimulus, and responsibility, or how do I react to this is entirely with me. So for example, if somebody says something bad to you and you just ignore it, you immediately get a sense of power. And or suppose if you beat him up and then you will feel regret. So stimulus and response, being aware of this, that it is tempered by emotions, is a superpower. So in particular stimulus, suppose if somebody abuses you and you just ignore it, so it is given you a power that you can ignore such a this thing. This is the concept, the critical concept that we teach in emotional intelligence in great detail. And stimulus keeps coming all the time. And our response also reacts. Our reaction, this thing keeps generating different kind of emotions in us. Being aware that we are more player of our emotions than actually the stimulus is a real power in our hand. We have already discussed about projected versus real self. Projected self is what you present to the world, and real self, in a real life, in a classroom condition, we ask a question that suppose if you find a bag containing 50,000 rupee currency notes and a wedding card, what will you do? In public, everybody will say we will call that card owner and then tell him that आपका बैग मिला हमको, इसमें 50,000 रुपए है, आप इसको आगे ले जाइए या मैं दे आता हूँ आपको. And he thanks you. This is projected self. In private, what will you do? It is only known to you. So most of the time, what 99% of us will do is that we will keep the money, throw the bag, and forget about the case altogether. But we will be somehow aware that we have done this. So this is projected versus real self. And the roles of brain and hormone is very important for us. I'll just touch upon this topic and leave it because it's a subject by itself. You see, our brain, as these scientists believe, that consists of three layers. The outermost layer is neocortical layer, which is neocortex. This word comes from neocortex. This is called neocortical layer. This is where words, history, and our capacity to act is located. Our capacity to act. Act means acting. The second brain is a cortical brain where basic body functions are located. And third is the innermost brain is limbic brain. They call it limbic brain. Of course, you see, it's only a schematic diagram. Please understand that all parts of the brain, they interact among themselves and it's a whole. But to ease our discussion about it, work and distribution, they talk like this. This limbic brain, we get it from our reptilian ancestors. These reptilian ancestors, this has got that four classic reactions of a animal. One is the first is sleeping, eating, mating or reproducing, and fourth is defending or security. These are the four critical needs. Our emotional setup is also located in this region. That is why our real locations do not have, our real emotions do not have any words related to it. If you truly love someone, you will not be able to say it. That is why your mom and dad never said that they love you so much. Because this area which is there, and you must have encountered, whenever you encounter a very tough situation in your life also, you generally are devoid of words. Words fall short of describing that. You go to somebody's place where somebody has passed away and you don't really talk too much about it. So this is the limbic brain. This makes the emotional intelligence training very difficult. Telling this, because this is a knowledge which needs to be imbibed and not discussed, therefore it becomes very difficult to train this, change this limbic brain, which has got our basic responses like sleeping, mating, eating, and defending ourselves. Now this whiteboard I had kept for discussing all these drawings which I had made. So one more item I'll discuss, and then we will leave the rest. What exactly is the emotional this stimulus and response? We discussed about emotion. What exactly are emotions? If you look at the pure biological point of view, emotions are basically generated out of proteins which are ordered by the brain depending on the stimulus that it receives. For example, there are certain hormones, you must have heard of them, that is dopamine. When somebody likes your Facebook profile or likes your quote or something like that, you get a dopamine kick, and people are talking about dopamine addiction these days. Then there is something called oxytocin. Oxytocin is one hormone which is also called love or hug hormone. When you do something selfless work for somebody, you really love, a lot of oxytocin is generated. In fact, if you give an oxytocin injection to a cow, it gives a lot of milk. So people use this for extracting this, but genuinely it can come from selfless work, or when you love someone and hug out of that. So there are a lot of hormones like this. There's a serotonin and melatonin, and some hormones which harm us. The biggest is among them is cortisol. Cortisol is a stress hormone which is produced when stress is encountered in the body. As and stress has become endemic these days, so therefore you find that heart attack, which causes heart attack actually. This is the primary reason of this cortisol levels are being measured whenever you will go for your stress testing. They will measure your cortisol level, and accordingly they decide that kind of stress that you are facing. So I wanted to discuss a little bit on this, and we have already discussed about the brain structure and how they contribute in our self-awareness.
So, with your kind permission, may I interrupt with a curious question?
Please.
So, you told about the various hormones. You also talked about the sensory organs, the stimulus response. So, where does the ego come into this picture? So, we have heard various theories like ego, superego, and so how does this fit into this picture?
Yeah, it's a very good question. Actually, it escaped my attention. This is where we should have discussed this. Actually, you see, what you talked about, id, ego, and superego, they are actually mental constructs introduced by Freudian psychology. Actually, as such, they do not exist. They are only mental construct to explain various things. And I'll tell you, id, ego, and superego are mental construct to you see, kids are generally egocentric. They want their will to prevail, and it is a pleasure principle that we seek only pleasure all the time, and superego is something which balances the two as per Freudian psychology. But actually the ego or the ahankar or whatever they call it by any other name is a very big, actually it's not a good thing. I'll tell you why. This body mind intellect and this entire composition is called ego. What happens is that one identifies with the body, mind, intellect so much that they feel that it's an integrated whole, and I am this body only. I am, what I am thinking is right only, and what decision I have taken is the best for the situation under the circumstances. These are the components of ego. But ego is a very dangerous thing for a leader. Actually, leaders should try to have egoless existence. I'll tell you how. When this ego, what it does is that if suppose this is very strong, this body mind intellect complex has become very strong in your reckoning, then it is like moving with a big target board. It is very easy to hurt it, and it's not good. If in a relationship somebody can hurt your ego very easily, it's self-defeating at times. Actually, you become a very poor negotiator if your ego is very high, and people understand it very quickly that okay, since this person has got very high intensity of body mind intellect complex being one, and he's the only one, they can immediately attack your ego. Anything small incident like somebody not wishing you in the morning, or somebody ignoring you for this thing, it can hurt your ego. Actually, the ego is important for this integrity, but for leaders it is a very bad sign. Actually, leaders should have very low level of ego to survive in a team like situation where people will differ from him. He will meet situations which will not be of his liking. He cannot have a strong preference for anything, and people take advantage of this. I'll give you an example. I got a weakness that suppose if I go to a shop and somebody shows me a thing worth 400 rupees, which is suitable to me, of a thing which is worth 500 rupees, which is not exactly suitable to me, but I feel that because I'm a illiterate person as far as fabric is concerned, I think that high cost may mean better quality, and I'll buy something with a higher cost. It's a function of ego. I have to identify this. Union office bearers, your supervisors, your subordinates make good use of if your ego is very high. They will come and tell you कि साहब somebody was talking very ill about you. I cannot even tell you, and you feel bad about it. Ego is a leader killer actually. The more higher ego you have, the more target board you have people to hit. And if you have got, suppose if you got a very small ego is important for existence, otherwise it will not give you integrity. But suppose if you have got a very small ego, then you are better placed, because that target is not visible to anyone. They don't know what to hit to make him feel hurt. So this is very nice, Krishna. You raised a very important issue, which I thought that was getting skipped because of
Sir, thank you for
time
addressing
limitation.
it, sir. Sir.
So, projected self and identity we have already discussed. Now we'll discuss what is the use for this. This is your projected self, which you present to the world, and this is your real self, which actually you are. The difference between these two should not be very high. If difference is very high, that means that either you are an actor, or you are a criminal, or you are a politician. Either way, it is actually the same thing. They all mix these days. So this difference should not increase too much. What happens if this difference is too much? If this difference is too much between your projected and real self, people don't trust you. Your trustworthiness goes. They don't believe your words. This is what is happening with these politicians these days. What they say, people don't believe. So, and what are the possibilities? Possibilities is that you may have only one self, the real self as projected self. This is an ideal condition in whichever field you are. If your real and projected self are one, you will become a great man. The only leader that comes to my mind in this regard is Mahatma Gandhi, because his autobiography, if you read My Experiments with Truth, सत्य के साथ मेरे प्रयोग, अगर आप पढ़ेंगे तो this is the most honest autobiography written by a leader of his level. Others will not even think about writing those things which he has written in his autobiography. So if you're real and this thing, if you're real and projected this idea of self is one, your integrity is also very high. That means there is no difference what you say and what you do. So this is very important concept we must keep in mind. The self starts forming around age of 10 to 12 and goes on until the end of our life. So therefore, we must try to keep this projected self and real self as close together. This function is performed by emotional intelligence. Whenever you feel that you are lying too much or you are acting too much, immediately bring it to the real self. It's very important for the leaders to realize this, that the formation, the self being self being divergent is not good for their image or their effectiveness. This is also so very true in life. Actually, what we are discussing is we are restricting it in an organizational setup, but it is also important for your personal life. आपके व्यक्तिगत जीवन में अगर आपकी प्रोजेक्टेड सेल्फ और रियल सेल्फ बहुत दूर दूर है तो आपके ऊपर कोई विश्वास ही नहीं करेगा. Try to keep it as close as possible. Emotional intelligence is between projected and real self के बीच में, and this gap is filled by emotional agility. Emotional agility, I'll introduce this term here. Emotional agility is that your capability to bounce back from a setback. You see, your projected self has got hurt for some reason, and it will get hurt sometime because outside situations are not within your control. Your emotional agility is that how quickly you emerge from that situation. This is where the hurt is inevitable, but suffering is optional. Now let's discuss about the, I think we will discuss a little bit about how do you increase your self-awareness? How do you improve it? Introspection is the biggest and the best method of improving self-awareness. What is introspection? Actually, introspection is when you sit back and look at your life and analyze in general. So what I'll suggest is, it's called in technical language as grounding and centering. What we do in grounding and centering is that we sit in a quiet corner and think about our own life. how far have we traveled, where, what we wanted, what we have got, and where will I go, where will I come from, how much kind of a responses that you have taken out at various times, when you have got angry unnecessarily, when you felt bad, when you felt hurt because of somebody's missing. So this introspection is a very, very strong way of improving your self-awareness. A word about meditation. Actually, whenever we talk about meditation, it comes to our mind. We are sitting in silence and in a cool atmosphere, in a lonely place where nobody disturbs us, and then we start chanting Om Om etc. and all, doing these mantras. They are meditation. Actually, they are not. The real meditation is that whatever you are doing, do it 100%. If you are drinking tea, only drink tea and think of nothing else. Then drinking tea will also become a meditation. If you're writing an article, talk about only that article. Or listen, write, do. This is the focus and flow. That is where you should switch off your phone when you're doing something mindfulness. This thing. Also, take a journal or maybe keep a record of how you reacted in various situations. When somebody told you something and then you got hurt so badly that you started shouting, you became unnecessarily angry, or you displayed your shoe. Actually, taking note of this incidents will improve your self awareness. And please try to learn some lessons, drive some lesson from each interaction that you have. Then actually self gets highlighted. If you are alone, self really doesn't matter. Self matters only in interaction. And if you express gratitude for the things, good things that have happened to you, people that those who have been good to you, and you give them genuine compliments to them, this also improves your self awareness. Compliments are of three kinds. Actually, when you give a compliment to someone, number one, you acknowledge that he has done something good to you. The second is that you are grateful for what he has done to you and you are expressing it. And also, you will improve in future because you will try to behave like one. So compliment is basically acts on both recipient as well as the giver, and also the improves both. One point of this thing I will add, that their compliment should be genuine. My father used to tell me that if you call a police constable as Divanji, he will feel happy. But if you call him SP, he'll definitely beat you up. So compliment has to match with the it is to be needs to be authentic. You cannot compliment what is called as false compliments to people, because they see through your game. Gratitude is a divine quality. Actually, you see, the number of times in Valmiki Ramayana, Kritagya word has been used for Ram is mind-boggling. I think it is more than 50 times. He told Hanuman when he got the information about Sita, Prati upakar karum ka tora, sanmukh hoi na sake man mora. God is telling the person who's serving him that how can I pay back your debt? I cannot even face you because you have done so much for me. And what Hanuman is saying, it is because of your prabhav only. That is because of your impact. I have not done anything. So what happens is, I am only a monkey, he says. So this kritagyata, gratitude, is a very good quality where you compliment the good things in your life. You express gratitude. It also enriches you in a very big way. Then seva. service. When you do service and you find yourself useful, that increases your compassion component. It's a very, very important attribute of self-awareness. So if you take everything, you are not raising your kids, you are doing seva to them. You are not living with your wife, you are doing a seva to her. You are doing a service to your neighbors. You are doing a service to your country. You are doing service to the organization that you work. This also improves your self-awareness a lot, because you feel that you are doing something meaningful, and being meaningful in life gives you a lot of strength. So and be always of use to others. Then feeling the need for improving your self awareness is another important factor which you need. Good habits, gratitude, feeling of gratitude, and you express it in compliments. And last thing I'll discuss a little bit about it, resilience. Actually, resilience is also called grit these days. A very successful book was written on grit. And the Sandra, the owner of Yahoo, expressed it, the resilience. She wrote a very good book called Lean In. Resilience is that how far can you withstand a setback which was devastating. So this resilience is a direct function of self-awareness. If you have a high resilience, that means you have high self-awareness. And if you have high self-awareness, your resilience will be very, very high. They are actually what is called as synonymous with each other. So resilience is one quality. This has also got to do with your emotional agility. Setbacks will happen, but you will have to come back to your normal self. What are the advantages of high self-awareness? Actually, if you are a very highly self-aware person, the leadership will come to you naturally. You don't have to strive for it. People will immediately get influenced by what you say, and people will also follow what you say. Team building is easier because you are able to attract and retain talent. You do not repel people. Persuasion is facilitated. You will be highly good negotiator, in the sense you are highly skilled negotiator when your persuasion prevails. So if your persuasion is prevailing, that means your with this high self-awareness, your persuasion abilities are also high. Higher trustworthiness and happiness also increases. Actually, a lot of people in the West, especially the psychologists, call it as your secret weapon. Why people are not able to explain how come you are so popular, how come you are so easily accepted by others, how is your trustworthiness is high. Actually, their secret weapon is high self-awareness. Thank you. This is all I had to say in very, very brief about self-awareness.
Can you throw more light on the meditation part you talked about? You said that
Yes.
whatever we are doing, if we are involved in that moment, that means we are meditating, but it doesn't usually happen. So, it sounds almost impossible to practice in life.
I'll
So how
give you
to
some
get closer
practical.
to.
I'll give you some practical tips. Actually, meditation for longer hours in this generation of people is just not possible because of distractions that we have. So first, cut down on distractions. Like in the morning when you wake up at whatever time, suppose if you get up at 6 o'clock, then don't start checking up your WhatsApp and phone. Put it off for an hour or so. Whatever you are doing, if your mind goes away, bring it back to the subject. Actually, doing a meditation where you sit for hours together is theoretical, doesn't really happen in our practical life. I'll share you some basic tips about it. Is that always watch your mind in whatever interaction you are having. Always watch your mind. That why so whenever mind, actually you see, mind will try to take you to different subjects. The thinking process has to be arrested for meditation. Thinking doesn't allow you to remain in present. It either takes you to the future where you do the scenario building, ये ऐसा होगा तो ऐसा कैसे होगा, फिर ये होगा तो यहाँ कैसे होगा, or it takes you to the past where you can't do anything except regret and perhaps learn some lessons from it. To remain in present, you have to make some efforts, and these efforts are very simple. Wherever mind wanders into future or past, bring it to the present. I'll share what I have done. We don't have TV. For last 20 years, we did not have a TV. I don't read newspapers. I read only books or magazines. My wife does it for me. And in the morning, from 4 o'clock to 7 o'clock, I do not check my phone. This is my off time. Generally, you will find it very difficult to contact me at that time. These are my simple strategies for keeping me focused on the work, and if you can call it meditation, so be it. Meditation is sitting down and saying Om at a stretch is just not possible for us because our mind is so distracted and unfocused that we can't do more than 2 minutes of meditation anyway. So if you make every activity 100%, at least for in a day for 3-4 hours, at least you will be very, very mindful and you will be back to yourself. I'll give you one more tip how to improve self awareness. Treat life as given and then form your responses. The biggest mistake that we commit is that we want to tailor-made life to our choices. It is just not possible. There's just too many factors involved in molding your life according to your taste. Whereas molding yourself to the requirement of the job or requirement of the situation is much easier, and it will keep you intact all the time. You will not break your head against the wall. So be very, very emotional intelligent by only doing what is you have to make a conscious effort to do that. I hope I have answered this question. And if you can keep a journal of your thoughts, I think it will improve your self-awareness a lot.
Yes, sir. So now I think you have given us some actionable points which we will be able to follow. I would like to conclude by saying, sir, you started at the very outset, you said that you were going to unzip the concept. So you have very aptly unzipped the entire construct by talking about the stimulus response connection, about introspection, interaction. So you elaborated upon the role of ego in meditation, service and usefulness, and seva bhav, and the role of resilience and emotional agility. And sir, as we had declared at the very outset itself that we'll be presenting many such more topics during our next webinars, which would be a series of webinars on emotional intelligence. So this was the very first session of this series, and I thank you for sparing your time in addressing the participants. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Krishna, and thank you all the participants.